The key to the sales process is to make sure we are asking questions and they are answering our questions. It's the key. If there's any one thing that makes sales or makes you an effective salesperson, it's understanding how to ask questions that build and engineer agreement and commitment.
So when you talk about the questions part of it, is that something that obviously it's going to be specific to their industry, but do you have a list kind of set out in front of you, or?
We'll go through it step by step.
Okay.
There's basically 10 areas. And if you remember the basic areas, the questions come naturally, or should come naturally. The key to making the questions work is to keep it conversational.
Okay.
Now, when I would adopt some question-oriented scripting, for example, in a telemarketing aspect or a call center, it was hilarious sometimes. When I was monitoring, they would get in what I called survey mode. All right? So rather than having a conversation with the person, you know, hey Scott, what's your position there at ABC Company? How long have you been there? Oh, really? And what did you do there before this position? And you know, how did you get in this position? What are some of the responsibilities? What does that mean? What are you responsible for there? You feel like I'm having a conversation, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, but this is how it would sound, okay? Okay, and Scott, what is your position there? And you would answer me, and it would like be, okay, and what are you accountable for? Okay, and like they were taking a survey. How long would you put up with that?
Well, yeah, I mean, it would sound like you were just not really that interested, except you just wanted to get through the questions.
So the key is to keep the questions conversational. Picture yourself just at like a cocktail party or a mix and mingle. You're just getting to know these people. You're asking questions. That's what you do when you first start to get to know somebody, isn't it? So that's kind of what we want to do. The other thing that we want to keep in mind is before we discuss anything about price, and this is key, don't people usually become geared as consumers or business people? One of the first questions they'll ask you is, how much, right?
Yeah, I know. I have a habit of doing that. And it's almost a defense mechanism or something that I could come back to later, you know, and to push away, even though I haven't heard what the value is yet, you know.
Well, you have no context for the price yet. You think you do, but it really doesn't tell you anything out of context. And so you have to stay off of price until you get to your final presentation. We've had people call in, one company I worked where we were selling high-end training programs to accountants. One of their first questions would always be, how much is it? Well, they were $2,000 to $5,000 depending upon how much they wanted to receive in training. But if we would have told them right off the bat, they would have said, oh, that's too much, and hang up. Right? That's the dance we play when we get on price. They have no concept that, yeah, it's going to cost you $2,000 to $5,000, but what if that could lead to $80,000 a year for the rest of your life? Because that's what we teach you how to do, to start and grow an accounting practice where you can make $50,000 to $80,000 a year working from your home. Is $2,000 to $5,000 too much for that? I don't think so. But they don't even let you get to that, see? So you've got to get off of price. And that's where that, hey, I don't even know if this is right for you. That's where the backing away comes in nicely. To say, look, it doesn't make any sense for us to talk about price. I don't even know what it would be for you because I don't know what you need. I don't know what program is right for you. So I'd love to answer that question, but first I have to ask you some things. Because I want to establish that this is even something you want to do before we get down to the numbers. Does that sound fair?
Yeah, and that's a
Yeah.
That's a great segue, because that's a
Yeah.
I think a thing that a lot of people in the sales industry battle,
And
is how to do that gracefully and
Yeah.
to do it smartly.
And guess what? You will lose some people. They will say, well, if you're not going to tell me the price, then, I'm gone. Fine.
Yeah, they probably weren't buyers anyway.
Didn't want to work with you anyway. That's not the kind of client I'm looking for. Another really good question that will get them off price and on to criteria is what you want to talk about, is to ask, well, let me ask you a question. I'm not quite sure what it would be for you, because I don't know enough about your circumstances or what you want to accomplish to know what is right for you. But let me ask, is price your only criteria? They almost always say no to that. And if they say yes, fine, they're gone. I never want to compete on price. Never.
And that's part of valuing what you do and what
Absolutely.
you're
If that's
presenting.
all they're looking for, hey, for example, those who wanted the training say, here's the way you can get what we do for free. Go down to Barnes & Noble, okay? There's several books down there on starting your own accounting practice. You don't even have to buy them. They have nice chairs. You can get a latte. Just sit down, read those books, and do it yourself. It will save you a ton of money if that's your only criteria. That's your best solution. Now, I'm kind of being a smart aleck with them, but they get it. And if they don't get it, I don't care. Nothing lost here. They were probably going to bolt anyway at $2,000 to $5,000. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
So those are two ways to stay off price. But remember this, that whole discussion comes down to this: make it your mission. Fit before fee. You have to answer the fit question before you ever discuss fee.
And that is this a good fit between you and I? Is that what you...
Is this a solution that I have right for you? Because if it's not, why even discuss price? Let's make sure it's the right one for you. And then let's make it work within your budget. Okay? So, how do we get started with this then? Well, the first thing we want to do, and that's why we call it minding your P's and Q's, is we want to get into what we call exploration, investigation, and opening minds and hearts. And there's really 10 steps to it. Present, I've just got single words here. I'm sorry, it's not present, it's present. What is their present situation? What is their preferred circumstance? So where are they? Where do they want to be? What is the pain? What is the gap between where they are and where they want to be? That's usually where you find the pain. What is their priority to change? How motivated are they to do that? What's their plan to get from where they are to where they want to be? What process are they going to go through either to get there or to select the best alternative, the best way to do it? Who are the people that are involved in the process? Is it just you? If you're selling consumer, is your spouse involved in this? You want to get all of this out of the way before you present your solution. Then we look at the possibilities, meaning, are you open to other possibilities, other alternatives? And then we propose that we talk then about our solution. Notice I've taken them through this before I even propose to talk about our solution. And then we present our solution. And there's some key questions that go into this. Now, if we look again at it as a chess match, we go back to the beginning. Oh, hold on a minute. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. We go back to what we call the opening. The position, present, preferred, pain. Okay? What is your position there, John? What exactly do you do here at ABC Company? And get them to talk about that. I like to talk about my position. I have this position. I've earned it. I'm proud of it. I want to talk about it. What are your responsibilities? What do you get paid to do? How do you know you're doing a good job? what are your deliverables? What are your performance standards? Any of those kinds of questions that will help you understand what makes them look good, what makes them successful in the eyes, what gives them a good performance review or whatever. I want to know that because I want to help them get there, sincerely. So we want to find out about that, and so tell me your present situation. Why did what I say yesterday pique your interest? And that will tell us about their present circumstance. So is that not where you want to be? Where are you looking to get? Where would you want to be? What are you wanting to accomplish with this, and why? And just ask those kind of things. Now there's some other questions in here that are really kind of fun, like how long have you wanted to get there? What's held you back? What stood in your way? What's your biggest frustration that's keeping you from achieving that? Those kind of things that all tend to help establish the pain. Okay? And why is pain so important? Pain is important because there is nothing more motivating for us to take action than pain. Now, we can talk all the day we want about opportunity, about gain, whatever you want to call it. But if you look at it, if I'm trying to sell you something that is fun and pleasurable, you schedule for that. Sure, I think we will buy those tickets for that event. Or, yeah, sure, we will take a cruise. Okay? Gain, we plan for. Okay? If we have an opportunity that's out there, we don't usually just jump into it. We look at it, we schedule it, we plan for it, we make steps we need to do to get there and to achieve it. But when we have pain, what do? Got to have an aspirin. Yeah? When we have pain, I got to take, the hatchet out of my head. Or I got to go to the emergency room. Or we take action when we're in pain to relieve pain. It is the strongest motivation. And it demands action. So that's what we want to get into. I want to discuss just a little bit the different dimensions of pain. Okay? And I want everybody that's listening, look at this chart and determine, are you trying to take your clients from present or future pain, and are you trying to take them to future pleasure or current pleasure or greed or whatever benefit, what you want it. So in other words, for example, at our school, we were taking them from their current frustrating existence. And we were trying to take them within 6 months to a year to a practice that would be on track to give them $50,000 to $80,000 a year in income as an accountant in their own practice. So that's taking them from the before, the present pain, to a future pleasure, a future dream, if you will. Okay? But to make it even better, we bring in the other two dimensions of pain and pleasure. So for example, I will say, what would happen, John, really, is it that big of a deal if a year from now you're in the same situation? Now where am I taking him?
Yeah, to a place they don't want to be.
Future pain.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm saying, yeah, you want to feel this in a year too? Okay? And the response to that is amazing. They'll go, they'll think about it, and you can see again, they're having that conversation in their own head, and I know what they're saying. We have been trying, especially if you precede that question with, how long have you wanted to get there? How long have you thought about doing this? Oh, well, 3 years. Oh, 3 years. Well, maybe it's not that important to you, really. I mean, if you're in your same situation a year from now, do you really think it's that bad? And they go, I can't be there in a year. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
So we're bringing in the future pain. And I can also bring in the present pleasure by saying, how good does it feel? Just think in your past, John. When you had a goal, how good did you feel when you started to do something about it? You just got started. Didn't everything get easier? Wasn't that a great feeling? So not only am I holding out the pleasure of the future, now I'm also offering him, and look how great you'll feel today when we get you into the course and you start. Isn't that a great feeling to have made the commitment and to start on something? So I bring in all dimensions of pain and pleasure, past and future, and play it against each other like yin and yang to make them feel the pain of doing nothing and the pleasure of doing something. Hi, this is Clay Neves. If you liked what you just watched, I highly recommend that you get lifetime access to over 9 hours of incredible material in this series that will allow you to take all of these principles from your head to your heart to your hands and manifest it in your life for amazing sales success to make your personal sales more dynamic.